This episode of the Paddy Wagon is brought to you by Dan's Propane. Experience the difference that a reliable and trustworthy company can provide. Call Dan today at 308-530-0211 or visit danspropane.com to schedule your propane delivery. Hey everybody, pull up a seat. I have just topped off my glass. Why don't you grab your favorite beverage and join me? This is the Paddy Wagon. Welcome back for another edition of the Paddy Wagon, you fine folks. Today we've got a wonderful guest here who is probably a prime example of what happens when somebody says yes to every single thing that is ever asked of them or put in front of them. This guy's a father, husband, jiu-jitsu practitioner, a coach, former crab boat worker, carnival rental guy, brewmaster, and host of the Fighters Drinking Coffee podcast. This guy hates sleep more than anything, I'm assuming. Second stint in combat sports, which tells me he did not learn his lesson the first time. We're going to get into fighting, family, beer, weird jobs, and why linear career paths just are some shit that some of us don't follow. So today's guest is Michael Sutherland.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Did I miss anything in there?
Oh, no, I think you hit most of it. And you definitely nailed it with the not liking to sleep. I'll be getting up I get up at 4 a.m. every morning. So
there you go, buddy. There you go. Yeah, I'm a late person to begin with, but then on top of that, it's, much like you, man. I got a lot of interest. I got a lot of things going on. So, but we'll get into it. But from what I'm gathering, some of these are going on, concurrently. Others are maybe things you don't do anymore. But I'll let you dig into that for us. So you did mention you do not drink alcohol, which is acceptable and probably the smart thing to do. Although I'm going to have questions for a brewmaster as to why a brewmaster doesn't drink alcohol. But what are you? Do you have anything you're drinking with us today?
Yeah, so I'll clarify on that too. So I drink sometimes, but I don't drink, especially I'm waking up because I get up so early. I just try not to mess with my sleep too much. So every once in a while, but for the most part, I don't. It's not a part of my regular schedule. But so I'm drinking. I have just at least make it somewhat fun. I have a little pina colada electrolyte drink here, a little liquid IV. So
there you go. Nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah. I love those things. Nice. Yeah, it's. I was going to say, it's not the weirdest thing to have somebody have a job or a hobby that they actually don't partake in, whatever that hobby is. That sounds very bizarre the way I worded that, but a guy that makes alcohol, doesn't drink it, wouldn't be the weirdest thing ever. But I was curious about that. So I assume you definitely don't when training for a fight, would be my guess, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing. I'm usually I get 2 months off a year, so from competing. So it kind of makes it one. It's tough to get back into it. You really don't want to after 10 months of the year of not drinking or anything. But yeah, it's Absolutely. Just it's really just a performance thing more than anything. I really didn't stop partaking until probably around the time I quit brewing. So it was very late in my brewing career. But I started weaning off of it once I got back into combat sports and stuff. It just eventually just starts taking away from whatever thing I want to do the most. So it was kind of what it was.
Understood. I've never heard anyone say, what great things happened in my life because I drank alcohol. I'm still waiting to hear that story. Who knows? Maybe someone met a spouse, maybe someone made a friend, but other than that, I don't think you got too many options for other than some funny stories. But no, man, I'm with you on that one. So what do you do when someone says what do you do or tell me about yourself? What is your answer to what do you do for a living?
So usually try to, I lead off by saying that I'm I tell them I'm a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. They usually at least can figure out the professional and athlete portion of it. And then, from there I break it down. I, coach more or less full time. So I'm coaching 5 days a week. I compete all around the world. So I've so far only one place other than the United States, but we're working on it.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, so I just kind of break it down. Luckily, now versus the first time I was in combat sports. So I used to do MMA, but at least now, like, jiu-jitsu is a little more starting to break into the mainstream a little bit. So more people know what it is now than they used to. But
and to clarify, we are talking Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's a little more mainstream, so people tend to understand at least what I'm talking about or what I'm referring to. So makes it a little bit easier than it used to be. So
yeah, remember the old school, like UFC 1 through 5, where people were they learned real fast what the fuck Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was. Like, this dude's 400 pounds. He's fighting this guy who weighs 122. We think we knows what's going to happen, and big guy lost. It is like very eye-opening. Like, I will never forget learning that the guy on his back is in complete control of the situation, and the guy on top had no idea what was coming his way. And then the next thing you know, you got an arm bar, somebody's tapping, or someone's sleeping. So how long you been practicing?
So it's been, I have to do math because the years just turned over. 15 years now.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for a while.
All right. And I know people ask this a lot, but before I ask it, I realize how hard it is. I've heard it's the hardest discipline to achieve black belt status in. And I've never heard anyone challenge that or say, no, you know what else is tough? I know there's other things, right? It's all a discipline to some degree, but what belt are you?
So I actually just got my brown belt on Saturday. So I was actually
nice. Congratulations.
So kind of pushed to that like point if it's tough to get to the black belt. I was at purple belt, which is in the middle, for about 10 years. So part of that's frequency and all that, but so I mean it's tough. It's definitely tough.
Yeah, I was reading somewhere recently where I think it was the same thing. Like, would you say about 10 years? I think they said it could take 10 years to get a black belt. It's everyone's commitment is different. Everyone's time to commit is different. Everyone's like we have kids, man. Like, there's all these things that we're doing that can interfere with that. And even if you did it 5 days a week, like, there's no set schedule. Like, I remember karate when you're younger. It's like, hey, if you can perform this, I think I'm going to challenge my memory here. I believe it was called a kata, where you had to learn something for each belt. It was like, you pretend you're fighting off 5 guys, and it's a lot of that stuff. And jiu-jitsu is not like that, man. It's all practical, real world grappling, like different techniques and things like that. Am I off base there?
No, I mean, that's completely correct. I mean, and they always talk about how, like, each person's progress through the belts is going to be completely different too. Some, you might have a guy who started when he was 40 years old, and he might not be as good as, and once he reaches black belt, he might not be able to beat these other guys that are younger than him who might not even be a black belt, but but that's, just he started later. His goals in jiu-jitsu were different. His ability, I guess, is capped compared to someone who's 20 years old, right? So it's just going to be a vastly different journey for everyone. And especially since the sport can only be practiced with a partner. So you're like constantly, showing how you can actually apply the sport versus, versus like you can't. I did Taekwondo as a kid, and it was a very similar thing.
Okay.
Like, you do the form, right? You show the moves that you learn, but you don't necessarily have to. You didn't always show them on other people. So So it's just a little bit different.
Okay. Yeah. So what would you say? Let me. I need something to do. Okay. A little gym in the basement. In fairness, I haven't been in that fucking gym in a while. We won't get into that, but I own who I am and where I'm at. Somebody's like, do you work out? I'm like, absolutely not. I definitely should, but I don't. What are you doing right now? Drinking a beer, but I should probably be on a treadmill, right? So like all these things, but I've always had this kind of a desire to get into jiu-jitsu. One, because it's amazing exercise. My concern would be the flexibility piece. Is it possible for somebody to kind of, I mean, at my age, right? I'm 46. I know I can be more flexible than I am, but can I compete at a reasonable level? And does that flexibility come back?
Yeah. So, I mean, really just moving, right? Motion is lotion. So, I mean, I have guys who, at least, to my knowledge, did train with me in the morning. They started, I think he's like 57, 56. I don't know. He's in his 50s. He started later, much later in life. I mean, he started last year, just started doing jiu-jitsu. As far as I know, he walked in off the couch and immediately started doing it. And it takes time. You're getting winded in the first 2 minutes when you get started.
Oh, yeah.
Everything feels hard to do, but the coordination and everything, it just comes as you do it. I always use like this analogy that just because I have kids, so I watch them wrestle each other, and I'm like, oh, everyone was born knowing how to do all these grappling movements. We just forget how to do it when we get older.
Yeah.
So it comes to you pretty quickly.
Okay.
It all comes back. Just doing it really stretches everything out. You get a little more limber, a little more flexible. So,
okay. So jiu-jitsu, it's one of the, when you're a fan of MMA or a fan of UFC and you watch fighting, right? But, there's so many disciplines, but you can tell when someone's base is jiu-jitsu or wrestling or whatever the case is. So with jiu-jitsu itself, for those that may not know, and I'll just kind of throw it out there, right? It is a grappling sport. How does what you do differ than MMA? Obviously, it's only one discipline, but like, what can you not do? And if me and you were right now, we had a match, what's it going to look like?
So I mean, really, the only thing that it's just no striking. So no striking on the ground, no striking standing up. I mean, otherwise, it's all the grappling aspects of it. Standing up, you're battling for position there, looking for hand position. You can put your hands on their head, you can snap them down, you can try to throw them, you can take them down, all of it. And then, all the submissions, they have it for safety's sake broken up by your belt rank to where you can, what all you can do. So they don't have people who don't really know how to apply certain holds trying to break people's arms in a way that isn't correct or something, so that the idea is you want them to feel pain prior to anything getting damaged. So you're
the point is I want you to tap. I don't want to break your arm. I want you to give up.
so they don't they don't allow certain belt ranks to use certain moves just so that some precaution. They should know how to do it anyways, but whatever. Just so that in case these newer guys are doing something wrong and are breaking something without the person knowing it's coming, or them knowing it's coming, I guess. But I mean, for the most part, any sort of hold that you would see in the UFC, like all those submissions are the same. All the grappling, all the takedowns, all the same. The only difference is we're not hitting each other, which is why I started doing this instead of fighting. So,
yeah,
it's a way I could still do it and not get hit in the head.
Still do, yeah, man. Nobody wants to get blasted, get rocked. Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking about that, where it's like, in MMA, right? If I don't want to tap, I don't have to. You put me to sleep. Snap my arm, snap my ankles, whatever move you're going to do. But with these events and like the competitions you get into, is there a ref that would jump in and go, okay, that's it? Or do you have to actually tap?
Yeah, so if you go to sleep or something breaks, and the ref notices, they'll stop it. Especially if you go to sleep, they know right away. They're watching for that when people are in chokes for too long. I mean, they've seen when it does it. Most of these guys are practitioners themselves. I mean, I had a ref stop one of mine before I tapped because it was my elbow exploded. It was loud. It wasn't too bad though. Nothing broke. It was, but like the nerve or the tendon like slid over the bone hard, and it made a big pop. And the ref was like coming in to stop it right before I tapped. So they're usually pretty on top of it, but they'll let you ride it out. They're not going to stop it before anything breaks, unless it's kids. They'll keep the kids intact. They'll stop them if
keep
they're
them
like,
coming
no.
back for more, man. You know, snapping a 7-year-old's arm in half probably just not going to be. They're going to be doing it when they're 8.
They're like,
right?
No, kid, your arm was broken here. If you waited any longer, we're just going to go ahead and stop this.
Oh shit! Yeah, my wife just fell in the driveway a few weeks back, which I've talked about on a couple episodes, and just snapped her arm just in half. She heard it snap, and so I'm a little sensitive to that topic right now. I mean, we're watching football. Dudes are breaking their legs. Someone's Achilles just ripped today. Like it's, we're watching it. We're like, oh God, look away, look away. So we've got a cast in this house right now. So turning our stomachs a little more than it normally does.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep. So how did you? So you to go back a little bit. And you were into MMA before. You mentioned Taekwondo. Why Jiu-Jitsu? What got you into I'll try that sentence again. What got you into Jiu-Jitsu, like in the first place?
Yeah, so I wrestled in high school, and I had thought about trying to walk into the wrestling room in college. But I dislocated my knee senior year of high school wrestling. So I had been watching UFC, all of that, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, what I was going to do in college. And I ended up finding like a jiu-jitsu gym. I dropped in there, started doing some training, but the whole intention of that was to get into MMA. So it was just a way to like use my wrestling and kind of scratch that itch that I had. And so it gave me an outlet for wrestling, and I got into MMA. That was like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm going to be a fighter like everyone back in the 20-teens. Early, not even 20-teens yet, pre the early, 2010s. But I kind of fell into it there, and jiu-jitsu was something that like, all right, it was such a big part of MMA, especially then. Like if you knew about UFC, you knew about BJJ and the Gracies and all of that. So, I was like, all right, I'm going to learn the jiu-jitsu side of it so that I know how to play on the ground, and started learning Muay Thai and all of that. So I had already had I put it all together. I was doing camps. I actually lived in Thailand for a summer to train there. And so, I was making a whole point of it. But it was purely for MMA is why I originally learned jiu-jitsu. But through that, I kind of fell in love with the jiu-jitsu side of it. And, so, that always kind of stuck around. Okay.
So you were in Thailand. You ever catch a Muay Thai elbow or knee?
Yeah, I was at this, there's a gym, it's in Phuket. It's called Tiger Muay Thai. Actually, if you watch UFC now, so like Peter Yan used to train there.
Yeah.
Valentina, she does camps out of there. It's a lot of big names have come through there. Actually, the guy Kai Kara France was there when I was training there. But so it was a gym run by like Roger Huerta, who, if you follow the sport, he was a pretty big name back way back when. He fights in, I don't know if he still fights now, but he was fighting in ONE FC at the time. So it's his, that was kind of his camp, and it's on like an old coconut plantation. And so just live in, they have like these little dorms there. You live there, and like right outside your door, I walk out of the dorm and I'm looking at a Muay Thai ring. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was cool. Got hit a lot. Got to watch Muay Thai fights.
Yeah, that shit looks like that fucking hurts, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, none of it feels good, but there's just something about, I don't know if it looks like the dudes are so tall and lanky where they get more power in their kicks, or if it is actually there's that much power in the kicks. But it just looks so brutal. It looks so brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's all coming through the hips. Like, all of it is just, like, pure...
Just that rotation.
Hip torque, yeah. So, I mean, it's just... They're whipping those legs. So...
Well, hey, listen, I learned it's pronounced Phuket, I believe you said?
Yeah. Phuket.
Yeah, no, you know how I was pronouncing it, dude, and it wasn't Phuket, man. I've seen that a million times. I'm like, fuck it. That's a great name for a place to live. Like, I like it. All right, okay. I've been watching seriously since back, I think it was like late 90s when the UFC started to pick up. No weight classes, to fucking elbows. I think it was the only thing that you couldn't do was punch in the balls or eye gouge. Everything else was legal.
The ball punching came a few, I think it was a few in that they started doing they outlawed the punches to the balls, because there were some pretty infamous ones. There's one.
I'm Irish,
there's a
man.
guy who's
You're
just
taking away my fucking ability.
Yeah, he's sitting there just wailing on the guy's nuts. Yeah, I think the Big John McCarthy, he has a whole, and they did like a whole interview with him on like just because he's the guy who kind of came up with the rules. And so, yeah, he talks about that. It's pretty funny. It's like the moments that he decided maybe we shouldn't allow that. So,
yeah, I mean, but you know, that's the thing. It's like in a street fight. Like I jokingly say, like, I'm Irish, man. You're taking away my bread and butter. If I'm being attacked, I'm looking for throat, nose, balls. Fucking rip somebody's eye out of their head. You know what I mean? But like, I guess if you're watching a sport, you don't want to watch some dude get blasted in the balls 45 times in a row. It was like, I got to tap, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make people want to watch. Doesn't make people want to do it either.
No, it's just everyone puking in their fucking house watching it. Oh, but I miss the sponsors, man. Just everything's the same now. You used to see awesome sponsors on people, and you know, you kind of. I figured nothing's worse than getting tapped by some dude wearing like a fucking Massengill fucking logo on his shorts. You got any sponsors or anything, or just kind of basic gear?
Yeah, luckily we can still look like NASCAR drivers.
Nice. With
our sponsors for jiu-jitsu.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, I've got a few. So I have a guy, which is actually, this one's, so one of my favorites. I actually reached out to him when I decided to go back to doing this full time. So there's a US-made apparel manufacturer who does jiu-jitsu gear. He got started in the Fight Short game, which is how I knew about him. But so it's Cruise Combat out of Dallas, Texas. And so they make full custom rash guards, all of that. But it's all American made, American materials.
Nice.
Which is really hard to find for like compression wear and like athletic wear. There's not a lot of that being made around in the United States. So, really cool, and he's been really good to me, keeping me in some cool gear, and you know, keeping me from, or helping me pay for stuff by, you know, through our setup. So I mean, it's been good getting me the place I need to be and letting me have a kit. So that's been awesome. We talk, you know, we just text each other. It's nice. It's a nice sponsor to have. Super supportive.
Nice. Now, is this gi or no gi?
So I mainly compete in no gi. I do both, but like my main pathway is no gi.
Okay. Now, would the gi have sponsorships as well, or no?
Yeah, so I have all the same ones like on that, but I don't have a gi sponsor just because I don't do it as often.
Okay. Yeah.
It's mainly just
Can I assume
opportunity.
Can I assume that the reason you don't like gi or you like no gi more is you're taking away something for someone else to grab onto? Because I feel like that's why I would go no gi.
Yeah, and I mean it's also partially my style like came from MMA, so just I have all of these years of grappling for MMA that a gi just kind of changes up that game for me. So like my game's very much not based around the gi, but it's just also just what I enjoy more. I just enjoy. Just enjoy just being in no gi more than in gi. That's really more of it, but
like a preference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't hurt my fingers as much.
It is a rougher material, right?
Well, yeah, and like there's a lot more strain on the hands with a gi versus not.
Yeah. Because you do when you see it. I mean, it is literally just kind of gripping the collars and pulling, and it's just constant. I mean, shit, people get cauliflower ear from rolling around. I imagine gi, people that compete in gi, their fingers have just got to be ripped to shreds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the guys, we like to joke that they like to joke around that their fingers are ribbed for her pleasure because they get all knobby. All the joints get like knobby and they get narrow. So,
yeah, I now I'm going to be Googling what fingers look like with fucking people that compete in gi. So second stint back in combat sports. What I mean, listen, I could assume I'll just say the term life pulled you away, but what pulled you away and kind of what brought you back?
So I was kind of at the end of or I guess a better way to put it is I was in my amateur career and we already knew what the pathway was to get to the next level, to get to fighting at the pro level. I had a really good coach. He was well connected. So we kind of knew what we already kind of had a roadmap. But so I was walking around 155 pounds. I was having to cut down to 135 is where I was fighting at. And I'd go to these fights, I'd make weight. So I'd cut 20 pounds, make weight, and then people wouldn't show up to fight. So, I mean, I had a few of these where, you cut weight and then, or they miss weight, you have to do catch weights and you've already gone through the process. And it was just a lot. It's just, it takes a toll on your body. It's a lot, especially when you go through camp after camp after camp, you cut weight and the guy doesn't show up, so you don't get to do the fun part. I mean, really, I was missing out all the fun parts of the fights and not getting to actually do them. It was just getting tough, and it's you don't get paid if you don't fight,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You're kind of missing out on, it was kind of stalling out, and I was like, I was about to get married, and I was like, all right, well, I need to figure out something stable, or at least something that I get paid regularly. Yeah. I don't know if I didn't choose the most stable of careers, but at least I chose something. I got paid every week or every 2 weeks.
People really don't show up?
Yeah. I mean, especially like at the amateur level and, if all it takes is a guy to get a little too many nerves or they don't think they're going to make weight. So there's no repercussions of not showing up because they're not. So
other than your fucking your ego, or I mean, dude, that's gotta. Well, yeah, I think if a lot of guys didn't show up to fight, I'd feel sick for one, because everyone's got to know what that feels like to have to try to cut weight and then have somebody not show up on them. I'm sure it's not only happening to you, but just like dogging somebody like that. Be like agreeing to meet somebody for a date and not show up. Like, dude, you're a piece of shit, man.
Yeah,
we were supposed to be here at 7.
Yeah, exactly. It's not cool. I mean, and luckily a couple of them will blacklist people for it and, they'll make them known, especially if they do it a few times. I mean, I had to pull out of a fight once, but that was because I split my eyebrow from corner to corner. I had to get like 19 stitches. So I had to send them pictures, and I was like, yeah, so I'm not even going to fight next weekend because
What did you
kind of
do?
held together.
Was it practice or what?
Yeah, it was just practice. It was an accidental headbutt, just like in a wrestling practice. So, no big deal.
Bro, how hard of a headbutt is 19 stitches? That's a lot of stitches.
If you get it right on the eyebrow, it's really sharp on the brow ridge there, and so it'll just cut it. I also split that same eyebrow when I was 2 years old, so it's also just been
Scar tissue. It's ready to go.
It opens up all the time.
Nick and Nate Diaz style.
Yeah, I actually had the same one open up again. It got to the point where I just started not stitching it back up because it just wasn't worth the hassle and the copay and all of that. So
okay,
but yeah, so that was kind of what bumped me out.
Yeah, I can get behind that, man. So, what'd you learn? This, like, in your time off, what did you learn? Because how long was what was the gap between leaving and coming back?
So I stopped doing it full time in 2016. So I stopped. I think it was 2016. Might have been later in 2016. I stopped. Stopped competing full time. I got a job. I was still working at the gym still at the gym through that. I was still training through like 2018 pretty regularly. But I had a job at the brewery during that time. So I was off for, I guess it was only like 5-6 years that I wasn't competing.
Okay.
But I guess I was only out from I stopped training almost all together at a gym from like 2019 until 2023. So about 4 years that I didn't have a gym that I was going to.
Okay.
But the sorry, the question was, what did I learn?
What would you say you learned, or even about yourself, right? Because I would think that there was something you missed, probably, that pulled you back, or how would you word that? Like, what would you say the reason to come back was?
It was definitely like a hole, right? Like sometimes you feel like there's something missing, but you can feel like you have everything you need, but sometimes there's just like that one thing that you just always,
that little piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, that like it just was always kind of like especially once it was completely gone. So like I had like a few ways to like get into that, and I think part of it too is just like the like ability to strive for something, and like having that thing that's like, all right, I have to like work hard to attain this. And I think the point at which I needed to go back, was once I kind of reached like a top position and realized, so like I picked brewing because I didn't want to sit at a desk. And
can't blame you.
I got to the top, of kind of topped out and where like in career growth there. And I was sitting at a desk, like managing a brewery, and I'm like, wait a second, this isn't why I did this. And so like I think that like what kept me in brewing so long was the constant like striving to be like the best, even it's like a complete unattainable thing. Being like constant like striving to do better. There's like a creative outlet involved, and you're able to like kind of express who you are through the thing you're making. But like once there wasn't somewhere else to go or like bigger and better to achieve, it just kind of became soulless for me. And I was just a job. And luckily I was in a situation where I didn't have to do that. Not everyone is. And like I had a good pathway of, something else to do. But like, I think once those goals kind of went away, I needed something else. And like jiu-jitsu always is going to have that. There's always something new to learn or something new to do, or, that guy you have to beat or that title that you want to win. So, and maybe one day it doesn't, maybe one day I accomplish all the things, but I don't think that's going to happen. But, it's just that constant ability to strive for something definitely is, I think I learned that that's what I need. And it provides me that, so.
Yeah, I can appreciate that because I am the guy sitting at the desk now. So I recruit. I'm a recruiter, biotech firm, love what I do, love who I work for, great company, great people. I enjoy speaking with people. I enjoy playing a role in anyone's career. I love giving career advice, love helping people write resumes, be the best that they can be during the interview. And, it's come up. It's like, hey, do you want to be a manager one day? And I'm like, well, no, because then you're taking my people away from me, right? You're taking the things that I enjoy doing and making them go away. And now I'm just, I don't know, managing other recruiters or something, right? Because human beings are the ultimate wild card. Like, that's the thing, like with what I do, it's not I wouldn't say a difficult job. But it's communication, and you're dealing with different people every day, and kind of navigating those conversations is tough. I think anytime you're dealing with the human element, it's like somebody's like, "What's the best part of your job?" I'm like, easily, it's the people. I love working with people. They're like, "Oh, it's awesome. What's the worst part of your job?" I'm like, "Oh, it's easy. That's the people. I hate people." So it's like you don't have a good answer, but I would think that if you take that competitive piece away from somebody, like you see it with athletes all the time, it's not just fighters. Take that locker room away from a football player, take that camaraderie and the teammates away, there's a piece of their soul that's ripped out, and a lot of those guys struggle after that. And it's just like, I miss that. That's what I miss. Any athlete, team sport wise, you ask, what do you miss the most? Well, I'll tell you what, I don't miss two-a-days. I don't miss 162 game season for baseball. But damn, I miss my guys, and I miss the locker room, and I miss that, right? So I can, being in a sport that it's all you, right? Because while there's going to be somebody across from you that you're competing against, I would think the real competition is internal, and it's you competing against yourself more than or as much as you are competing against the guy across from you. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely especially for me, like that's been the biggest, that's the biggest opponent has always been me. I mean, you're constantly competing against who you were yesterday. You're competing against, your fear, your self-doubt. You're competing against, all of that. And, it's more often than not. And like, I actually spoke with my coach about this, about how like more often than not, I beat myself because I feel like I need to do more or be the exciting one on the mat, or, whatever reason, or I just need to keep moving so that I can get to this thing, or I need to finish. And like, that's what ends up beating you, rather than just focusing on what's immediately in front of you. And okay, I just need to get to this point, and then I can just kind of wait and score. I don't need to do the next thing yet. I can just be here for a moment. And so like that's what I have to get past. And like, you get to go and confront that every time you compete. You get to confront every little bit of self-doubt you had, every, which internally or externally motivated. You know, everything that someone else told you couldn't do, everything, like, I mean, you can put that all out there and you get to battle that out on the mat. I mean, you're not really, that's the first step. That's the first hurdle that you have to get through before anything else. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Is it a tap? Like, how does a jiu-jitsu match end? Because, like, now that I'm thinking about it, is there a point system, or is it like, no, man, it is the first person to give up, like that's it, or is there a scoring system to some degree?
So, there's a scoring system, so it's time based. So my matches are 6 minutes long for the for IBJJF for federation matches. They're 6 minutes long. It's either by points, so you're awarded points for basically progressing through, and each position is, you know, it's all based on, the positions are more or less based on where it's dangerous from a fighting standpoint. Like, you're trying to progress to positions where you could essentially strike people. That's
so if it was MMA, sorry, I want to make sure I understand this. So if me and you were competing against one another, I'm trying to gain advantage, you're trying to gain advantage. If I get to full mount, is it then, okay, well, now this guy's in control, so now there's points for control. He could absolutely just start fucking hammering away on this guy. Like, am I understanding the concept of what you're saying? Yeah,
so that's what the scoring is based off of. But so it's rigid points. So this is the general rule set. Some have their own rules, but this is the most widely used. 2 points for a takedown, 3 points if you pass the guard, 4 points for the mount, and 4 points for the back. And then there's advantages, and you get 2 points if you go knee on belly, stuff like that. But 2 points to sweep from guard. But that's like the general progression is, all right, you take someone down, you get 2 points. You pass their guard, you get 3, because now you've, you know, gotten past their defenses. If you mount them, you get 4, because now you're in total control. If you take their back, you get another 4, because now you're behind them, you have control of their back, you can choke them, you can hit them, and they can't do anything to you. So that's like the ideology behind why those positions are scored that way. Okay.
Now, you see full mount a lot, and it's just people just raining, just, you're done. It's just you're getting punched. But what are you going to if you have somebody full mount and you can't strike?
You're looking mostly for either taking the back, or there's a lot of chokes, and you can do shoulder locks. You can set up arm bars. You can set up a lot of your submissions from there too. But it is a lot harder when you can't hit somebody, because they can kind of shell
punch
up.
Somebody?
Yeah. No, I've never accidentally punched someone.
I feel like I would accidentally punch somebody going from MMA to then just grappling, and you'll just drop a hammer on somebody and be like, fuck, dude, I'm so sorry. Previous life, forgive me. Yeah. But you've never made that mistake?
No, never accidentally made contact. We'll pretend sometimes. You take mount and you pretend to slap somebody or punch them, but never actually do.
What just happened? Anderson Silva just fought in a boxing match against, I can't think who he fought, but he feigned a knee and the dude dropped his hands instinctively, waiting for the kick to come, and he hit him with an uppercut. And I was like,
he was fighting Tyrone Woodley.
So Tyrone Woodley, that was it. And it was a brilliant move. But that's not going to work against a boxer, because they're not expecting that, where somebody who fights in MMA, like I said, instinctively is going to go, here comes the kick. It was genius. I don't know if it seems kind of shitty to do, but I don't know if there's a rule against that. But what are you going to do? Sometimes you got to fake the knee.
They didn't call it, so I guess it was fine.
It's fine. It's fine by them. So yeah, man, you got into coaching. Now, what got you back into it? Coaching or competing and then into coaching?
I think that I lied to myself and told myself I wouldn't compete. And I didn't know it was a lie at the time, but I probably should have known.
Thought maybe it might be a lie.
Yeah.
I think I want to coach.
But so initially I got back into it just to do jiu-jitsu, try doing it as a hobby, which apparently impossible for me to do. And then I did that for, I guess it was about a year. And then some things occurred with the gym where they needed more coaches. And I was like, well, I used to teach some classes when I was fighting. I coached some guys. And so I was willing to step up and start coaching. And so I did. And around the time I decided to start competing again. So I picked up the mantle doing that. I did a couple competitions that year, and then I was like, no, this is what I need to do. And decided that coaching and competing was that was just the thing. So
good.
So yeah, I mean, I pretty much got right back into it. It was a very short period of time. So we're talking over the past 3 years at this point. That year one, just tried doing it. I was just getting back into the swing of it, knocking the rust off, and but then just second I started coaching again, it was just time to start competing again. So for me,
okay. So you didn't lie as much as you're maybe kidding yourself a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it.
I think I just need to coach or be on a mat, but you're like, no, man, no, I need to win some shit.
Yeah.
I could get with that. Well, you've had a number of jobs, right? I assume probably most passionate about the fighting based on, what I'm getting from you. But, I think that every job's got something that can be tough or mentally draining, physically draining. Crab boats. I mean, I could picture a lot of stuff going on with the crab boats. But crab boats, carnival rental guy. What walk that through. What are some of the things and the stresses that you felt there? That kind of made you question life.
Yeah. So the crab boats aren't like Deadliest Catch Alaska crab boats. We're talking.
That's what I have in my head, by the way.
Yeah, I figured. This is like Chesapeake Bay. Our biggest danger is eels and mud. So, but
still dangerous. There's got to be some sort of danger. You're on a boat, and you're you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're working lines, and we had this machine. It looked like a fast pitch, like a pitching machine, but it ran the other direction. It would pull the line in, and you could get an arm ripped off by that, I guess, or catch a chicken neck to the face, or get pinched up by crabs. But I mean, you're not on huge ships or anything. These are small.
So you're not getting where the thing breaks free, the big basket, and it just slams you up against the side of the boat.
Well, I guess that probably could happen, but it's not as big of a basket.
Okay, so you're catching the blue Maryland crabs.
Yeah, these are.
I gotcha.
But
I gotcha.
So yeah, we were doing that. That was fun. So I went to high school near in Maryland near the bay, and so
okay.
That was just it was a nice job to have. My dad and I had a commercial crabbing license as well, so I worked on one guy's boat, and we also just did it for ourselves as well. Sold the crabs. It was a good summer job. Season wise, it works out because I could do that, and then I'm done in time to go play football. I played football. I did wrestling, so I didn't really interfere. Job wise, you can make some pretty decent money too, as long as you're catching stuff.
Yeah. They're not paying you for not catching stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Boat gets paid first. You got to pay for gas first. But then, so that was a cool job. I mean, obviously, you're waking up super early. You're waking.
Do you
up
still
at
eat crabs, or you're done? No more.
I still eat crabs. Oh
Okay,
yeah, crabs.
good.
All
Nice.
about crabs.
All right, good. Me too, man. I thought it may be one of those jobs where it's like, dude, if I eat another crab, no. So you're good. You have no problem eating the crab
I
still.
have no problem eating the crabs.
All right. Do you eat the mustard?
I eat the mustard.
Nice, dude. You know what I did? I didn't know you weren't supposed to. And somebody's like, you're fucking nasty, dude. You're not supposed to eat that shit. That's the mustard. I was like, it's actually really good. They're like, only this most seasoned of people will eat that because it's funky. And I was like, cool, man. I'm in.
It's good stuff. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe it's like the pancreas and stuff. It's organ meat. It's fine.
It's just,
They tell you that's good for you.
I don't know if that's true or not. Anything, it's funny because when you mentioned carnival rentals, I kind of had carny in my head. And I'm thinking like, dude, man, I always wanted a carny on the show because I knew a girl that did it and she had such great stories. And I'm like, you have to come on the show. Please, you've got to share some of this stuff. And it never happened. But then I kind of reread what you wrote. But I mean, were you a carny to a degree or no?
Not in like, we weren't like a traveling carnival. So
Okay.
This is like, when people do like inflatables and stuff like that for big events, like not just for like
Okay.
your house. This was like, people have like the fair and there's
Community fairs, things like that.
yeah.
Okay.
No rides. I mean, I did work the mechanical bull, which was fun. So I got to do that. That was a cool job. I liked doing that. But it was right next door to the MMA gym I was training out of. And so all the fighters worked there. So we all worked for the little like carnival rental and because they paid really well. You get like $300 for a day. It was great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a awful job because it was hot and you're just lugging stuff around. And if it rained, you'd be like the next shift, you'd be just scrubbing these giant inflatable slides and stuff. And it was just
Getting all the grass and dirt and
yeah,
mud.
exactly.
Oh,
It was
shit.
it was, but it was it was fun. We got paid well enough to do it, and but it was definitely one of those like Mike Rowe could make almost make a episode about it. But it was really fun. Like you would work the mechanical bull, and which was my favorite job to have there because people would get all like they think they're not gonna get thrown off because you had 3 settings. You just press a button and it would just go through the protocol, or you could just grab the joystick. So you could just start it up and they'd think they're doing great, and then you just whip the joystick and just throw them off.
Now, I've noticed, I don't know if it's the same with bars as it is with the carnival, but me and my wife were just talking about this. The rodeo was on. We brought up mechanical bulls, and I said, you know what? I said, the fucking guys will let the women dance around and swing around and all that. I said, if I get on the mechanical bull, I'm launched 8 feet within 5 seconds so that they can get the pretty girl up behind me on. Is there any truth to that at the carnivals as well?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, you would imagine so. Okay, I got you. He's a married man. He's not going to admit to anything.
I never had to deal with that predicament, I guess is all I'm getting at.
I got you. Okay. Now here's a question for you. Has anyone a patron of this festival or whatever it was, has anyone ever made the mistake of running their mouth and not realizing that this carnival had a bunch of damn MMA fighters working there?
Not on any of the ones I worked at. So I didn't have any, we didn't have any issues at those. But thankfully. So no issues there.
Good. Because that would be a really unfortunate thing for someone. Not you guys, but somebody. Where it's like, I didn't know you guys fought, so I was running my mouth.
You see, when I was talking bad to you, when I was shit-talking you guys, I thought you were just regular guys.
Yeah, I thought you were just some dude operating the mechanical bull, and now I realize this is why people tell you to keep your mouth shut, man. Any crazy ass things that you recall happening, crab boats or any other jobs?
Not specifically. I think I was lucky that it was relatively tame, at least between the carnival and the crab boats. I mean, brewing was always crazy. It's just the way it is. You're working with like these. You're working with these like giant cookers and everything. You're working in hot ass environments, surrounded by alcohol all the time. It's not yet declared to the government.
Yep.
With relatively free reign. So when you're in your early 20s, I think I started doing it when I was 21 or 22. I think I was 22.
You went to school for that, you said, right?
Yeah, so I have a degree in, it's a long one. It's a community health with a concentration in nutrition and food science.
Okay.
And so I went to school. I did a lot of like science courses, specifically food science and nutrition courses. So learned a lot about that stuff. I took one class on beer and winemaking in college. So I had the chemistry background, the micro background, just from my degree. But then I also have another degree in brewing that I got while I was working.
Okay.
So I'm classically and practically trained in brewing.
Because it is basically, it's a science experiment, which is why I think it's fascinating. There's that, I've got that piece of my brain that has just always been infatuated by science, and I recently got into making sourdough, and there's a lot that goes on when you have yeast and you have sugar, and you know there's a lot of stuff that you don't think about in beer and brewing and winemaking and any sort of alcohol. There's a lot of chemical reactions and things that are happening that are really fascinating, that I think when you pick up a beer or a glass of wine and you drink it, that you don't give two thoughts about unless you're in that space. So what kind of, you obviously went the food science route and then got into brewing, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. All right. And what was there a reason behind that, or it just kind of landed in front of you?
I picked my degree because it worked out with my training schedule. And so some of the classes I knew I could also skip and still pass. But it did work out for my training schedule. And that was the main reason that I ended up picking the degree that I picked. But
works out that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it worked out well. It was one of those things where I did enjoy what I did go and learn. So I found interest in it in kind of the time that it gave me, at least I had a pathway. I wasn't like in a degree where, you don't have something you can do, especially with my precursor or my prerequisite for a job was not having a desk involved. So most other degrees might have led me to something that would have required a desk from the get-go.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Or sales. I didn't really like people that much. So for me, it's not my thing.
I reference what I said earlier about people, man. It's like conversations, me and you were having a good time, but then at the same time, we're people, we rub somebody wrong. It's just, people suck.
Yeah.
Shit.
They would always ask me to go, hey, can you go talk to these people up at the bar? I'm like, you don't want me to talk to them. It's not going to go well.
I'm the behind the scenes guy. I make what they drink. And I don't need to. We're not going to deal with that.
It's like I already hate them. They make my job harder. I've never even met them, and I still hate them.
Shit.
It was one of those, I would always joke that I was like, man, this job would be really good if we didn't have customers, but we still got paid.
You know it. Yeah. Customers are, and I don't know. I feel like they've gotten worse I don't know if it's just the appearance, but I really do believe people seem to be way worse. The fuses are shorter. Everyone's a victim. Someone's looking to just bitch about something. I could be completely wrong, but that's just the way it seems. So I don't know how much of a customer service role I'd want to be in right now, if I'm being honest with myself.
Yeah, Yelp culture. Everyone feels like their review needs to be heard, and that made my job really hard, because people will have a bad experience and then it gets posted on the Yelp, or Untapped was the big one that I had a boss that was
Untapped. Yeah.
He was very into the Untapped reviews. And you kind of be like, dude, like half of these ratings are because they don't like this style of beer. Like, I don't know. They should be better at ordering beer, I guess. That's not my fault.
First off, read the reviews, right? Read the reviews, because you'll hear things like, I couldn't figure out how to get this fucking thing to work, right? You got to buy something. All the reviews are good, but it's like, well, wait a minute. You clearly said you couldn't figure out how to get it to work. Why is that giving me a 1 star, right? That beer sucked. I didn't like it. 1 star. Like, that has nothing to do with Michael, who's making the beer. The food was probably good. There's all these different things. But yeah, like you said, you ordered the wrong beer. I tried a sour. I didn't like it. Freaking people are psychos.
The number of, I don't like lagers, 1 star. It's like, then why'd you order it, dude? That's like going to a steakhouse and you don't eat steak and complaining that you ordered a steak. That's ridiculous.
I'm a vegetarian and this steakhouse sucks.
Yeah, like that's just silly.
Yeah. But then at the end of the day, your review drops lower because of that. And when you have a lot of reviews, who the hell's going in to read all those?
Yeah, they just look at the score.
4 out of 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just that whole like culture, and I don't know, everyone. It's also one of those things that there's a lot of people who their hobby became being into beer, like being a beer customer became their hobby.
A connoisseur of beer, right?
Yeah, and it's like, no, you just like drinking beer, which is fine, but that's not a hobby. And the same, I don't know.
Yeah, I struggle. I struggle to hit all the notes, right? It's like, try this. What do you taste? Like, well, the first thing I'm getting is fucking beer. Okay. I'm getting a hint of beer, and then on the back of the palate, more beer, right? It's just, there's so few people that have a truly defined palate as to where they can pick through the different notes and all of that stuff. It's a talent, which I assume you probably can do that, or at least could when you were brewing, right? You've got to be able to pick up on little imperfections or too much of this, too much of that, right?
Yeah. You get pretty good at it. But the one thing that, you will lose the ability to pick up some of them when they're constantly present. So like there's, I can't remember the German word for it, but it's just house flavor. So like if there's a flavor that's just in your beer, because you do sensory on it so frequently, you lose the ability to perceive it in your beer.
Interesting.
Just because it just becomes part of your like daily perception. So there's always,
I would have thought the opposite.
Have that. But yeah, it's just one of those things. If you always taste it, you just kind of lose it. You become dull to it almost.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, there's certain things that like I'm better at picking out than others. There's some stuff that I don't. It's not as I guess as offensive to me, like some flavors. So they don't stand out to me as much. Whereas,
what is an offensive flavor to you in the beer world?
So there's one that's diacetyl, which is just straight butter and like butter popcorn, but it's like not in a good way. Some people are like, "Oh, that sounds delicious." I'm like, "No, like, but no. It's not when you taste it. When it's really bad." One that's awful though is it's like cheese. So if the hops are really, really old, they make the beer taste like smelly socks almost. It's like it's cheesy, but it's in the sense of like that like foot cheese smell. And so that's really bad. That's one of the few that like when I did sensory, it made me want to puke.
So I would hope that, right, so you're learning that before it's in the beer, right? You're getting a handful of hops and you're hitting it right there on your nose and you're like, wow, I'm going to vomit. Or is it already made and you're like, wow, those were old hops?
It's when the hops are just old, like the raw material, it's not as bad as when it ends up in the beer.
Okay, so you have to find out after you've already brewed.
Well, you can smell it before. Like you can tell if the hops are old. But that isn't as like offensive as just once it's actually in the product.
Oh man.
Yeah. Once it's actually in the product, it's like highly accentuated. So.
God. And that's why you exist, is to stop that from making its way to me, right?
Yeah. That
good.
was one of the things I was supposed to do.
Good. Well, thank you for that, because if I had a fucking beer that tasted like somebody's old socks, I'd probably not drink beer anymore. So I think there's some overlap. Like there's some, when you think about fighting and brewing beer, right? Just work with me here because it may sound crazy, but there's a process and patience, and like I said, it's an experiment. It's a science experiment, and there's a connection between fighting and brewing, I think. From like you said it yourself, I think earlier, which is like it satisfied a piece of my brain to be able to be challenged. And then once I got the desk aspect of that job, that all went away. Do you see the connection between the two? And is that why you think that was able to kind of help bridge that gap away from fighting?
Yeah. There's like a mind and body thing that goes on in both of them. So when I was physically like doing the brewing and going from like recipe, like paper to glass even, and I'm doing all of that. And we kind of talked about on my podcast, we talked about the creativity, and it'll come out on Tuesday. Creativity and self-expression in jiu-jitsu, and there's a very similar thing in brewing. There's a physical aspect to what you're doing. You're physically touching these things and creating something. In fighting, you're physically, I guess, destroying something. It's just the opposite. Right. Or attempting to destroy something. But you're using your hands, you're thinking through things, you're planning, you're strategizing, and then you're executing, right? So there's a very similar like pathway there to where you're thinking, you're planning, then you practice it, and then you do it, and at the end of the day, you've done something, or in the case of brewing, you've made something. That was always something I would say. I was like, well, at the end of the day, no matter how bad the day was to start, you always have something to show at the end of it, which not a lot of people can say. Same thing with fighting. You always have some tangible thing that you can show for the work you put in that day. You have the sweat all over the mat, or the bruises. You have some way to show that you did the work, right? And so no one can say you didn't, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think the hands-on, the self-expression, the creativity, because like I could go out there and with brewing, you can go and take these different ingredients from different places and put them together in a way that you are envisioning, and then that thing comes to light, and then other people get to enjoy it. So there's a cool thing there, and like I would come up with an idea, and you sit there and you formulate and you do research and you put it all together, and then, I have this, I wanted to make something that tasted like, that made me think of the farm, right? And I wanted to show that to people, and you can make that. It's like chefs, right? Same concept.
Right.
And in fighting, you get to do that as well. You get to kind of show your personality through the way that you fight, through motion and all of that. It's like, it's a different product. People aren't experienced, they're not physically experiencing it, but they get to watch it, right? Like, so beer, they get to taste what your idea was, but people get an idea of who you are through the way you're moving and fighting, so they can kind of get a feeling
that's an
of who
interesting
you are.
point. Very interesting point.
So, I think that is something about it that, and I only thought about this because we recorded it on last week, that like that idea, I was thinking about it after you responded, and I was kind of thinking through, how are those things alike? I was like,
I'm so glad. That's great. I'm glad I was thinking that. And it's funny because it was like a weird question where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm like, there's something there. Like, I could tell from your first comment about it, where it was just like a piece of, like I said, a puzzle piece is missing. And, you said it fulfilled kind of that, again, maybe the experimentation or the trying and that creativity. Because, with a beer, how long, let me ask you this. If you had an idea for a beer and you said, I want to try to put this together. So I'd assume you do some sort of small batch first. So you're not, bogging down a commercial brewing vat or whatever those things are called. But until you had a drinkable product, from concept to I'm drinking this and I think it worked, or wow, that was bad, how long of a time is that?
So I've done it a few times. So, well, more than a few, but, from like initial concept to like launching on store shelves, 6 months, sometimes shorter, but like, I think some of the best ones, it was like, all right, I make this test batch, and oh wow, that went over really well. And then like, oh man, and then it wins an award, and they're like, oh, we should make this a thing. And then, depending on the size of the brewery too, it changes all of that. Like, the bigger it is, the longer it takes. But I think it was about 6 months for the one at the last brewery is at, that like we
now, do you get to name them?
Would put into distribution. I'm in on the conversation. It just depending on the brewery. I mean, obviously there's branding stuff. I like to put my attempt at naming them, but it doesn't always make it past marketing.
That's fine. You gotta just something, got to get something in there that says I'm the one that did this. Did you have fun, or were there different beers that were more interesting or more fun to brew than others? Were there ones that were boring?
For me, the simpler beers were more fun to make, because they were they're harder to execute. So they're a better example of skill. Stuff with the more additions there are and stuff. I mean, I liked doing some of that as well, but I mean, I always liked making lagers, like simple beers that you couldn't hide anything.
That's what I was going to say. You could mask something with like, oh, there's orange peel in that. I can taste orange.
Yeah.
And all you did was cover up a shitty beer, where if you're trying to pull off a Pilsner or a lager, there's nothing to hide behind. It's either going to work or it's a bad beer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of you have a lot more leeway when there's more flavors, just because be like, that aspect of it isn't going to show through at the end anyways. So it's easy to have like a rougher recipe, I guess.
Okay.
And like people, you know, obviously you can still make really good beer in those other categories. It's just a matter of, you know, oh, well, you know, it's just, we can be a little more loosey-goosey because those finer details are, you know, your margin of error is bigger. I did not like making the hazy IPAs and stuff like that.
I knew you were going to fucking say hazy.
I didn't like doing it. It was boring because it didn't matter. I got to the point where I was like, oh, well, like, really, they don't care. I can put anything out there.
I love hazies, but I do know that I wake up with a bitch of a hangover the next day. And it's like, well, that's because they just threw all that shit in there and they didn't, you know. It's not as filtered maybe as some other beers.
Well, it's probably it's all the additional nutrients, all the extra carbs. Sugars tend to give you more headaches, more stuff in solution. You get more dehydrated too. But like, I just kind of found out that people, or just felt like that, oh, well, I just throw whatever hops have a buzzword name to them and then people are happy. You know, like there was less creativity, and like you'd think, oh, well, it's got all these different flavors. Like, well, you just kind of pick, you know, a new hop. That gets kind of boring because you're just, at that point, you're just shopping. You're not really developing a recipe. At least for me, that's how it felt.
Yeah. Did you ever just put a beer out and you're like, these fucking people will drink anything you put in front of them?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
People loved your shittiest beer probably. Like, this is great. Oh, man, it's so good. You're like, yeah, that was the one I would have thrown in the trash.
We would always do, so we would make like these smoothie sour things. And it was just, we would just make a giant batch of sour bait, like a base sour beer, and then we would just throw in so much fruit puree. And we'd always joke around. We'd be like making it, and you're blending, and you're pouring in the fruit. It's just like, oh, these fucking people. I was like, oh, they're gonna love it. They're just gonna drink. They're gonna gobble this up. They're gonna love it. They don't even. And they're gonna
tell their friends about it. Then their friends are gonna be here drinking it.
They don't even know that all we do is just pour all this shit in there, you know. But yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow, that's nasty, man. Yeah, it's because it's like that's what people like. Yeah. It's like, well, if you drink something, you're like, you know what? I wish it had in it. I wish it had this. Well, then it's like, well, then go get a drink with that. Don't make me brew this. That's that. You know, like I said, the lagers. I love lagers, man. Just boom, nice, good, crisp beer, done. So you don't drink, but you do drink coffee, right? I assume you drink coffee because we've got the Fighters Drinking Coffee podcast. So please tell me you at least drink coffee.
I drink too much coffee.
Too much coffee.
I don't even think it works anymore. I think it's just, I just do it out of ritual at this point. It's just something warm to do, I guess.
Black?
Yeah, I drink my coffee black. I don't, no milk in that. It just gets in the way. No sugar, it gets in the
milk,
way.
Done. I went to a place once. I think it was just like a Dunkin' or something like that. I was downtown Pittsburgh, and I was like, oh, I need a cup of coffee. And I went in, a black dude working there, and I said, "Can I get a coffee black?" And he said, like paused for a second, like looked at me like I was crazy. He said, nothing in it at all. and I realized in that moment, I was like, oh yeah, nobody drinks coffee like this anymore. Like everyone's got some damn laundry list name of coffee. And I said, no, man, just black. And I just remember him going, he said some of that John Wayne shit, and then just poured me the coffee, and I was gone. And I was like, that's where his brain took him, was to fucking John Wayne. And he just gave me the black coffee. It was the best cup of coffee he ever poured, because he was like, I don't have to stand here for 45 minutes making some asshole's latte.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right. So how'd you come up with the idea for the podcast?
So we initially started it in, I think it was 2015 or 2014. Well, I'd have to find old logs. We've wiped the entire old feed from the internet. It was everywhere. It was a problem. But so it was initially, that was like pretty pretty early podcast era where like most people could get into it. Like it started becoming doable by more than just like, you know, the average Joe could do it. And so my buddy and I decided, we'll start a podcast. We'll talk about fighting, and it'll be just kind of a fun way to do that. We'll meet new people. And we actually I don't think we realized how well it was doing the first time around. We would get thousands of listens a month and didn't even realize that was good. And we were getting to interview, like we had sponsors, we were getting to interview pretty cool people. Like if you've heard of Butcher Box, so we interviewed them when they were just getting started. We got to interview all these cool like coffee startups. We interviewed people fighters, NASCAR drivers. It was just we got to do all this really cool stuff because of it, and meet.
You got in, but while the getting was good, right?
Yeah, and I think we didn't realize it. We didn't realize that we were like doing something cool and like doing a good job at it, or being successful. We were not doing a good job. We were just. we looked back and we were like, man, we were disorganized and not regular, and people listened to it, I guess. But so, I mean, we had a relatively, I guess, initially we had this like relatively successful podcast that we had no idea was successful at all. And so we kind of just let it fall aside. Life happened. We both had new career stuff we were dealing with, and, just kind of, I think that was 2017, 2018. So, a couple years in. And so it kind of fell to the wayside, and then I guess it would have been 2 years ago at this point, we decided that we started talking about starting it again. And I was like, okay, well, like, let me go through, and if we're going to start over, like, let's just start it over. And so I went through and like had to find all these like little fragments of the old feed all over the internet, and like try to make sure that like try to sever wherever they were coming from, and like get rid of the old RSS. And dude, it was crazy. It was like on like, you'd search it and some Russian site would pop up with just one of our episodes, just one. Wouldn't be multiple, wouldn't be like a player, just be like one episode for some reason was really big on this in Russia or something. I don't know. Actually, it would make sense. We had one they had a team fighting league. It was MMA, but teams all at the same time. So it'd be like 5-on-5 at once in Russia.
Dude, I saw one of those once.
We
online.
interviewed a guy who was in who fought in one of those, and so maybe that was the episode. But yeah, so I had to go and like hunt it down and wipe the internet of like the old stuff. So be like, all right, like let's make sure that whatever we put out is what people hear. So if they go looking for us, they don't find our, young selves being ridiculous, because we would get pretty raunchy, and like it was just
yeah.
It was not reined in at all. We would say outrageous things. It was like, all right, maybe we don't need this out there.
We don't need new people to hear this. This was the old us.
Yeah, we called out a lot of people. A lot of shit talking, professional fighters. So,
that's funny. That's amazing.
In old days of Twitter, where that was all you did was just tweet at people, and we
just
didn't know
talk shit for.
Oh yeah, just try to start Twitter fights to become relevant. But
oh fuck.
But then we decided, okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna do this professional and try to get everything done. We'll be regular. We'll have it coming out frequently all the time, and we're only going to miss a week if we have to. And it's like the only week we've missed in the past year was the week of Christmas, because it was like, all right, like we'll just not have one this week. No one's going to listen anyways the week of Christmas. We know we've seen our trends at this point. We're like, if there's no work, no one's listening.
You know what? It's really funny you said that. Let me take a quick look at my calendar here. Yeah. I had an episode come out on No. Yeah. New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. The worst numbers. And I'm like, well, you've got to expect, because I do Wednesdays, and I'm like, if they happen to be a bad Wednesday, it's still getting released. And sure enough, here we are. We've got, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it's just fine.
It's like I got to have it come out, but I can't be shocked when nobody's listening to it because nobody's driving to work, right? Because that is truly where the listens come from, is that commute time. So,
yeah, with during the shutdown, a lot of people around our area, which is like a good portion of our numbers, because we do a lot of interviews with local people. But during that, like the government shutdown, we saw numbers like start to dwindle, and then when everyone started going back to work, you saw like all of the follow-up numbers for all the previous episodes started climbing again. You're like, oh, everyone's catching up now.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, we just decided to get more consistent with it and really like narrow in our focus on like, we are going to talk about, we're going to interview our friends, the people we know in the community. We've had people reach out to us about being on the show, and we have them on as well. But we're going to focus on jiu-jitsu, grappling, combat sports. We're doing a lot, and what we've kind of found is our niche is just the journey through jiu-jitsu, and focusing on like, all right, we're navigating jiu-jitsu. We're talking about the topics that interest us and that we're curious about or we know about. And then highlighting things like, you're brand new at this, or you just got promoted. And I mean, one of our favorite ones was, it's called the Blue Belt Blues. It's a saying, when you get your blue belt, a lot of people quit, or you suck again, essentially. That was the whole idea, is like, yeah, you got promoted and now you feel like you suck because, no one's taking it easy on you anymore. But
right.
Also, there's this whole mental change and everything. You realize that you don't know everything you thought you knew because now you're at the bottom of the totem pole again. So we're going through things like that, and the creativity and self-expression, and just trying to explore the world of jiu-jitsu with our listeners. And it's cool. We've gotten to meet cool people, and it's all over again. And we get to hang out, which is also extra fun. Get to hang out and talk with
always good
with a good buddy of mine that I've known for a long time. So
awesome, excellent. Yeah, I was when you had reached out. I mean, it's like, all right, well, somebody wants to be on the show. First thing I want to know is the person going to come on and speak normally? Which, believe it or not, there's a lot of people that want to be on podcasts. It's like, I don't know if that'll work, man. Like, you don't talk. Now, I've locked out, man. I've had great people on the show, but I've had people reach out, and it's like, where I go listen to some of their content, and I'm like, they don't sound like they like talking, right? Where it's like, why would you sound like you're uncomfortable speaking into a microphone, so why would you want to come on a show and so on? But your show's great. I love the banter, which I'm not surprised by the fact that you say you've known this guy for a long time. Also not surprised that you got back into it, because the trend that I see with you is, it's like you have something, it goes away, and you're like, you know what? We need to find a way to bring this back, right? I need to get back into fighting. I need to get back into podcasting. You're going to start brewing again, I'm sure, sometime, right? So
yeah, it'll probably come around.
Yeah, but so I feel like that too. That's, I think, why I knew we'd hit it off, is because I see a lot of that in me, and sometimes I feel like I'm the only person out there that's like that, where it's like, you have an interest, then it's not an interest, then it's still kind of something you wish was, and then boom, you're right back into it. So it's good to know that there's other people like that out there. I don't know if it's burnout. Do you feel like you get burnt out at all?
Yeah, I think I'm especially prone to it. I go like so all in on stuff that I don't allow myself anything else, I guess. And so like I just like get so focused, hyper focus on things, and you end up doing it so much that you get completely burned out on it. And so like that tends to I think that's probably part of it.
Are you now? Let me ask you: are you super anal about the editing process? Because that's where I find it very demanding. I don't need perfection, but I know, like, when you think of human beings, they want something that's not going to fluctuate in volume. They're not going to want to have to sit there, turn the volume up, turn it down, right? So I want to make sure you get the compression right. You want to get the luffs right when you're putting a product out. But I don't need perfection, but I need it to be a viable product when it hits people's ears. And I do a good job of that. But I'm not the guy that's going to get rid of every and but. You know, it's never going to happen. Are you that guy?
No, we keep the actual like content portion of it completely raw. Like, we don't cut anything out.
Oh, I love it, dude. Even better.
The only time I'll cut something out is if like there's a glitch or someone's like, "Hey, take that out, please."
Yeah.
Or we have like a connection error where someone drops out, or we had one the other day where I accidentally muted the mic on a call. And so we had like 5 minutes of silence that I had to cut out. But otherwise we keep all of the content. Like, it's exactly how we spoke it into the mic. And all I do is cut out the silences on either end. I mean, I get rid of all the background noise that it allows me to. Sometimes you can't get it all out, just the frequencies are wrong. But and then just normalizing the volume. I mean, I just wanted to sound. I wanted something that people can hear and like actually want to listen to.
Sounds good. Sometimes
sounds good, it doesn't
right?
work for you. You know, sometimes you get weird stuff with like a microphone bugs out and you can't actually get anything out of that. Or, you know, it's usually technical errors where it's like, all right, well, like I can't do anything about this, but if I get rid of this section, then the rest of it doesn't make any sense at all. So I guess we just have to live with this.
Yep.
So, you know, I try to make it as best as we can, but yeah, I'm not going in there and getting rid of filler words and any of that. It makes it weird to me.
My buddy, and he'll hear this, and it's fine. My boy used to do the show with me, and he did the editing, and he was just a sucker for every single and that's fine. People do that, but he said, "Hey man, can you edit this next episode?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem, bud." And so I do it, and I send it back to him, and I was like, "All right, it's all done." He edited out like another 5 or so minutes, which is a lot when you think of ums. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you missed a lot." I said, "No, I didn't give a fuck."
Yeah.
It was a big difference of there's a normal amount of ums and pauses and things that happen in conversation. And love the guy, but that was his thing, man. He needed that to that level. And I'm just like, I like the raw stuff. I mean, I sent you questions before because I was kind of like, hey, there's kind of an outline of what I think we should do on the show. We're going to wing it. You know, we'll keep us on task, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and read scripted questions because it's just not, it doesn't lead to normal conversation. It leads to just like an interview, like in a weird, like where it's, I ask you this, you answer this, and then you go down, and I don't want to do that. I want to talk with people. So, yeah, it's been fun, man. I like having you on the show. Like I said, I like your show, and we'll plug it, you know, definitely plug it in the summary notes and get you guys out there. But I did have an idea for something that I thought would be fun. So first I want to ask you one question, 2 parts. Who is your favorite fighter of all time? And who would you say your fighting style is the closest to of people that, like, say, I would know from the world of UFC or just MMA in general?
Oh man, that's tough. I've probably answered this differently. So on multiple shows, so if people fact check me, it'd be a whole thing.
Oh, so people ask that. Okay,
I think so. The first part, at least. But I think Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's probably one of my favorite. He's definitely like the guy. I mean, he's. Is
there a sexier highlight reel out there?
Probably not. I mean, that
is there?
He was an armbar is one of the best things ever too.
Wait, which one?
When he suplexed the guy straight into an armbar was
into an armbar is the best thing I've ever seen.
Poetry
ever.
in motion, man. That was amazing.
In slow motion, it is so fucking amazing. And you're like, how did his brain process any of that in that short amount of time? And yeah, look that one up. What was it again? It was the suplex into an armbar.
Yeah, he was a gamer. Maybe that had to do with his mental processing speed. Because he just like plays. He actually has stories of he would bring his Xbox with him to all of the fights. He would set it up in his hotel room, and he was streaming Xbox right before like he went to fight. So he was just like in his room streaming Xbox, and he's like, all right, and he puts it down, he goes, he does his fight, he comes back, and he goes back to playing Xbox. So he's just like
that's insane.
So good,
by the way.
Yeah, like he's just an amazing fighter. Fighting style wise, I don't even know. I'd like to say I fight kind of like him, just not as good.
I don't know if there's anyone that could say they fight as good as him.
But like I have a pretty.
Put it this way: how would you finish me if me and you were going to get into it and I was skilled? What would be the most likely way I'm going to lose?
Well, so I do like one move, so it's usually takedown or they pull guard, whatever. But takedown, pass the guard, and then my signature move. This is the signature move is my Kimura from north-south. So I sit on their head and then I break their shoulder. That's essentially my move.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, now I realized that I shouldn't have asked that question, but I'm going to ask it again anyway. So I put up a little rapid fire questions for you. And I actually think that might've been one of them. So we'll do that. You game for this for a second?
Yeah, I'm game.
All right, cool. Let's go. So we're going to get this started. Hardest job you've ever had?
Hardest job was definitely the crab boat. Yeah.
Okay, definitely the crab boat. Here's where I messed up. Favorite submission?
Kimura from north-south.
North-south. Least favorite to get caught in?
Guillotine.
Yeah, it's nasty. They're all bad in their own way. That's not good.
I had a streak of 3 losses by guillotine in a row. So
in a row?
Yeah.
Dudes were just, that fourth guy was like, I'm going to catch him. History tells me I'm going to catch him. Oh, man. One move that everybody should learn.
I think everyone should learn a double leg takedown. You don't have to know much else if you take someone to the ground. It's pretty so.
Double leg takedown's good. You know what I realized is I got into it with a buddy before. He hit me with a shovel. We won't get too into it, but he hit me in the knee with a shovel, and I double legged him. And when you get somebody correctly, they're weightless.
Oh yeah,
they're absolutely weightless. And this was a big boy, man, and I took him down. And it was amazing because I was like, wow, it felt like I was picking up paper. He was like, dude, I just flew. So, okay. You know what I thought you were going to say? That's a great one. The rear naked man, I think is very, not easy.
But you got to get there. That's the only
But you got to be in the right position.
If you can just take someone down from the get-go, you can just lay on them at that point. You're on top. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. True. All right. Let's say one habit you swear by.
Waking up early. If I get up at 4 a.m., I'm awake before everyone else. I can get a lot done. I have long days.
All right, you ready? You ready for my next question?
Yeah.
Early mornings or late nights?
Oh, early mornings.
I guess we knew that one. Oh man, this one too. Gi or no gi? I know that one.
No gi.
All right, now here it is. Harder process: perfecting a beer or perfecting a technique?
Oh, perfecting a technique takes way longer. I feel like
a technique, and I
feel like
is there perfection?
Oh no, it's impossible. But I feel like I feel like I've been happier with beer way quicker, like with like a outcome of beer way quicker than I've been happier with an outcome of like skill acquisition for jiu-jitsu. So
okay, awesome.
it's still never perfect.
Thank you for playing. No, I never thought practice makes perfect was a good saying to teach kids, because practice doesn't make you perfect. I think practice makes you persistent in a way. I just think if we get the idea that we're perfect in our head, then somebody else will prove to us one day that they're more perfect, right? It's kind of like the idea there's always a guy tougher than you, right? You might be the baddest dude on your street, but there might be a street over where this dude will lay you out. So, yeah, no such thing as perfect, but I think we strive for perfection, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets you closer to perfect.
Closer to perfect. All right. And then would you do it all again just the way you did, the way life's worked out for you?
I don't think that if it had played out differently, that it would have been the same. So I think the way that it all went is the right way. So
is the way it's supposed to be. I agree with you. I wouldn't change a single thing about my life, because it's made me the dad I am, the husband I am, the person I am, the employee. Like, everything about it is just that's the way it was supposed to be. So nice. Well, I'll tell you what, let's wrap this bad boy up. Why don't you, and then again, always happy to have people on, whether it's somebody that's got a podcast, a product, or anything. I always want to do my part to make sure that more and more people find out about you, where they can find you. So maybe where they can, I don't know if your fights are available online. I know your podcast is. Just tell everyone where they can find you at, where they can follow you, and anything else you want them to know.
Yeah. So, you can find me, mainly on Instagram. It's at GetSudsy, GetSudsy on Instagram. You can also find our podcast on there. It's at Fighters Drinking Coffee. The podcast is distributed everywhere that you listen to podcasts. So at least there might be one out there that it's not on, that some obscure thing that you listen to.
Even weird ones in Russia.
Yeah. Russian streaming sites.
Yep.
But Spotify's the big one. But it's everywhere. It's on every single streaming podcast service. You can find it there. We release every Tuesday at 5 a.m. So catch it on it's ready for you when you go to work, unless you wake up before 5.
There you go.
Or unless you go to work before 5. But so you can find it there, but you can either find them streaming on Flow Grappling or on the YouTube channel, or sometimes I'll post up where they are if they're going to be streamed somewhere. So anytime I have super fights or tournaments, so they get posted on my Instagram. So you just got to follow me there if you want to know more.
Definitely will, man. Yeah, we'll tag them all in the summary and get it out there for you. So, like I said, we definitely appreciate you coming on. It's been a fun chat. Give these guys a listen. Good banter back and forth, sharp guys when it comes to the world of fighting. Definitely worth a listen. So, yeah, man, listen, it's been great having you on, and we'll chat with you guys soon. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you.